Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. I'm Dylan, and joining me, as always, is Ben, Cam, and Zach. This week we watched The Blair Witch Project, 1999 horror movie. And to kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail from The Secret of the Booze, who I believe we did their Shining cocktail, the red rum, which this one, the Black Hills Legend, I could definitely see some relations. I think the red rum was just all alcohol, and hey, this one is too. So you rinse your glass with absinthe, and then it's 2 ounces of mezcal or tequila, an ounce of St. Elizabeth allspice dram, 2 dashes of Ango bitters, and then for a garnish, you can take a rosemary sprig and you can torch the end for a little aromatic.
Oh, I just thought it was like because that's what Kyrie Irving does, right? You just burn the sage to get rid of the COVID.
To prevent the COVID too.
Yeah,
That's why
you don't
he does
need
it in the arena before the game.
Yeah, you don't need a shot. You just need some sage, and you're good to go. It's kind of the new ivermectin. It's just burning sage.
It's cheaper too.
He's not even allowed in the arena though, so I don't know how he's gonna do that.
I mean, no, but didn't you know he's not anti-vax? He's just pro-choice.
He just doesn't want everyone else to get fired.
Dude makes no sense. Dude talks like he's the smartest man in the room, but the shit he says sounds so dumb.
We've been listening to him talk for like 6 years. What did we expect?
Look, I'm not saying I believe the earth is flat. I just think everyone should go out and I just think everyone should go out and do their own research. The fucking research has been done. It's been done. I'm not saying I don't believe the scientists. That's exactly what it sounds like you're saying.
Secret of the Booze is cranking out some great Halloween cocktails. They've got a throw it back type of shot for a Carrie called the Bloody Prom Queen. And it sounds like nothing I would want to drink, but the way that they make it, it looks delicious.
Really? Are they still making videos?
Yeah, I'm seeing 3 new videos this week.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I see this. From Killer Clowns, Jeepers Creepers. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I like their presentation. It's pretty good. We'll leave a link below.
Good quality.
I like their little. I think during Halloween they do for 31 days they do horror themed cocktails. I think, and we've used a couple of them on here. This one,
They're good.
I don't hate. I'm not the biggest mezcal guy, but in this one it's not awful. The smoky flavor. That you get with an Isla Scotch. It's still there, but it kind of works with the allspice spice. I feel like the bitters aren't doing much. Just gonna say because I feel like the allspice has a similar taste profile.
Yeah, I feel like bitters on top of allspice is a weird combo. Allspice in itself, I feel like gives you everything you need, and then throwing bitters on top of that is just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's not a bad one, though. I was expecting to totally hate this going in. And I don't. So that's a plus.
So it's better than the red rum. Got it.
Yes. It's better than the De Niro. It's better than the Gibsons.
Better
in the scheme of cocktails that we've done, it's pretty all right. I might make this one.
The Godfather cocktail, which is just more alcohol.
Check the show notes below. Make yourself a Black Hills Legend. And hit up those drizzling caster links. You can go buy some alcohol, have it buy some alcohol, have it delivered directly to your door, and you can make one of these, and we get a little kickback from it. So yeah, check out the Blair Witch Project. It's not really available anywhere. I think if you have FX now, so if you have a cable or YouTube TV subscription, you can get it that way. I think it is edited for TV.
Yeah.
Is it? What's missing? Because
Lots
they
of swearing,
swear
maybe?
And stuff.
Oh,
no, they swear.
Did they
say,
show the little
fuck and
bundle of
everything.
sticks?
I think so.
Did they show what was inside it?
Yeah, the hand gross. Or I don't know if it was a hand. It was a gross it was hard to tell what it was.
Okay, yeah, that you probably didn't miss much, or anything, I guess. As long as they're
It was
dropping
some
F-bombs.
bloody something.
I feel like
Yeah, that's
Right?
the only gruesome thing in the movie.
I want to say one of them. AMC might be the one that does like the TV ones, but I feel like FX, like the VODs that they do, aren't TV edits. I
Yeah,
feel like
maybe
what
those
I
aren't.
did.
Well, what movie was it? There was a movie I watched recently. Maybe it was Scream that was edited. Like some of the swearing was cut out.
But that was AMC though, right?
I would say I think that was
Yeah.
AMC though.
Yeah.
I think AMC does the TV edits. I don't think FX or FXX gives a shit. Like, if you watch any of their shows streaming, they are just full bore, whatever.
Yeah, because like even the shows they
Full
don't. I
penetration.
don't think they edit the cursing out like for the stream.
No.
Nobody's ever shown it before.
Crime penetration. Crime penetration. This just goes on and on for 90 minutes until the film just sort of ends. That's
Horror
what this one
movies
is.
are the worst to watch edited.
Yes.
Like if they
Oh.
if they remove like
Not
swearing,
what I was
it
gonna
pulls you immediately out of the movie.
What the
Yeah, that's
freak,
true.
Darren? You threw the map into the water?
This isn't an Xbox
What
card.
the frick? How
I ordered
could
an
you?
Xbox card.
Crap! Gosh
You
darn it!
asshole. You asshole. You've killed us.
You Monday through Friday. I can't believe.
Mother trucker, dude. That hurt like a buck cheek on a stick.
Could you just imagine if that's what Josh is like yelling when they're like in the tent?
Mother trucker!
Mother trucker, dude! Help me!
Poor Josh.
The Blair Witch Project is a 1999 found footage horror film. It's the story of 3 film students who vanish after traveling into a Maryland forest to film a documentary on the local Blair Witch legend, leaving only their footage behind. Currently sits at a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. Stars Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, Joshua Leonard. It doesn't have any awards, I don't think. I know it went to Sundance when it came out. It was like the first movie sold at Sundance too that year.
It doesn't have awards? Color me shocked.
I will tell you, probably, maybe to your surprise, maybe not. This movie was nominated for a Razzie.
Yes. I think it's
It
one of the
is-
highest grossing films nominated for a Razzie.
It is
I mean,
the highest
it was.
rated movie on whatever the tomato website is.
Oh, that's what
Oh
it
my
was.
God.
It was like
Rotten
one of the
Tomatoes.
Yeah, the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes that was also nominated for a Razzie.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, it was the highest budget to like box office.
I mean, their budget was like $25,000, and they made hundreds of millions off it.
Yeah, I think
I think the budget was 300,000 and they made 250 million.
I don't know because the directors are quoted saying it was
They
made
like
for the
returned
price.
their cameras after they were done.
They sold them on eBay and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
It
at least
depends
I
on
don't
what
know.
number you're looking at, because
Yeah.
what they spent to film it was like $25K.
Yeah, it was super
But
low.
then they spent money after to promote it,
Yeah.
which I've read is like in the 200 to 300,000 all in.
The,
So I
the
guess it
marketing
depends
is
on
where a
what
lot
I
number
saw
of
the
it.
Okay.
25K to film it. But yeah, they probably did that extra cost was probably all the promotion that they got somebody to do for them.
Which I will say was like insanely smart on their part.
Yeah,
The fact that they put all this shit out that like these 3 people legit just went missing in the wilderness and that.
Yeah.
So like when people were like, "Oh shit, this is a real fucking movie." I remember that being a debate for the longest time, like up
It was
until like
real
a
or
couple
not.
years ago. Like, is it real? Is this a real thing? It's
They
like,
use their real names. All the actors just use their names.
I think the website is actually still up. The old like crappy 1999 website that like is basically like, oh, this is like these people are missing. Like the splash page literally just goes to like a missing thing.
now you've got me curious.
I know it was for the longest time. Let's see. This is a AV Club from 2019.
Looks like it was taken down a couple months ago.
No.
I had seen this film before, Zach. I think you had. Ben, had you?
No,
No, Cam, you had.
no, I had not.
No.
What did you guys think?
I think that this movie is. It did start like this movie is like literally iconic in the sense that like it essentially started a whole genre, slew of movies after it. And everybody knows about this movie. So I got to give it credit for that. Personally, I thought this movie was boring as shit, and I would never watch it again or recommend anybody watch it. But that's just me. I thought it was boring. The characters were annoying. It wasn't scary. It was not scary at all. Maybe if you're in 97 and you're like, wow, these people are really missing. Like, maybe you think it's scary, but yeah, that's just my thought on it.
This movie to me felt like the longest tease ever, and then never gave you a payoff. Like, here's all this setup, and like, we're gonna here it comes, here comes the scare, here comes the scare, here comes the scare, and then it just is like, oh, cool. Now I have scary movie blue balls because there was no payoff to what.
Well, I think the
this was
payoff is supposed to be the house at the very end, like the guy.
The house
in the
where
basement.
nothing happened, where just the camera falls to the ground.
Well, did you not see the guy in the corner?
Happens. Yeah, but it's just like it's the slowly pan to the guy in the corner who doesn't move.
Well, that's the
I
point of the
like I said,
legend.
the point that's the legend is that he's in
I
the
know.
corner
I just-
and the witch.
But you didn't like that part. You would rather have like the Blair Witch pop out and be like, ah, I gotcha.
Something that at least like I don't know.
I think that's part of the thing I like about it is that there is no big jump scare. There is no thing. It's just this slow, creepy
Ooh,
burn,
a pile of rocks,
and it's all
Ooh.
atmospheric.
Oh my God, they found
I don't
sticks.
know. I will give the actors credit because they didn't play it like they were in a movie. They did a good job of making it believable that these
Sometimes
were just like
they weren't they agreed to film this, and they in their contract they agreed to that the directors could fuck with them, and the directors did fuck with them repeatedly. Like the part where the tent jumps around and they get really scared, that's genuine because they were asleep and the directors or whatever went over and just like shook their tents up, you know?
Yeah, basically they sent those three out with the gear, and then they had to like go from
They were,
point
like,
to point
following
during
them.
the day, and they set up checkpoints with like
Yeah.
batteries and all that and food, and then they were like, okay, yeah, here's like the idea, and then at night they would just come and like basically not let them sleep, because one of the idea came from one of the producers or directors, like took like an army class, like a training, and was like, these guys are hard asses,
Oh.
they're just out there all the time, so like what if we took that approach and just did like a super method movie and basically just put the actors in the thing, and then like they waned them off food towards the end. They said like the last couple days all they gave them was like a power bar and a banana, and just wanted like their genuine like reactions basically of like they were tired, they fucking hated it, they were pissed off. Like,
just all their interaction towards each other was, I thought, really well done.
Well, how do you feel about that?
oh, I mean it's totally not legal. They were like,
I was gonna say it feels 100% unethical to me. Like all of that, the entire way they filmed this movie and got those reactions feels really unethical, right?
Yeah, except they never really were. They never really were that far deep into the woods. Like they could have left. They had like an emergency GPS with them that would take them back to the road. So like they could have left. But I don't know. I mean, it's a low budget get together and try to make this thing. So I feel like you're so invested that you're cool with it.
yeah, I feel like you also just like you could turn away from that at any time. Like they kind of like I'm sure they were like, hey, this is our idea, and you could turn away. It's like the bees in Candyman, you know? It's like, here's what we want. Feel free to say no.
Right. I'm just wondering if they got any payoff for that. For
I mean,
being
look at actors
tortured
in
for 8
general.
days.
Actors don't get a percentage of the resulting box office like amount.
Oh,
to
Some
begin
do.
with.
I mean, it depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
Very much
I mean,
depends.
we hear about it when it happens, though. So
Yes. No,
I
I'm
get
sure-
the feeling it doesn't happen much.
It's not super common, but sometimes, like Jack Nicholson did it in Batman. Both Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito did it for Twins. Like, I know it. I'm sure it happens. I'd imagine.
Robert Downey Jr. did it for Iron Man.
I was to say, and I think
was a good call.
most of them
Yeah.
did. Because isn't that the big reason that Scarlett Johansson and Disney had that whole suit?
No,
Was
yeah.
because
I thought that was just the movie airing on Disney Plus versus.
Well, it was, but the reason
Well,
is
but I'm
because she
pretty
wasn't
sure-
going to get as much
her
money because
points.
of how it performed at the box office.
because it didn't perform at the box office.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does happen. It's still, especially not, I'm assuming on indie flicks, is it very much like a common, hey,
It may not be like you may not go for like that in a sense, but I think it may have happened for smaller stuff. Especially like I know the big thing is like people like being like deferred pay, which is not great because a lot of times you don't get paid. But like
Nice.
people will be like, "Oh, like we'll pay you a little bit now, but once the movie actually does good, we'll pay you more." And that might have been part of the incentive. I mean, you said they shot this for $25,000. Like, you think somebody's gonna act in something and only get paid like
Well, they only
a fraction?
well they only shot 8 days,
I mean,
so it took longer. It took way. I mean, it took only 8 days to shoot the movie. So I don't know how much of that was. I don't know how much of that 25K. I mean, it seems like if you only shoot for 8 days, 25K for 8 days does seem like you're paying them, including in that
probably.
cost.
I mean, they probably spent a
other
lot of
than
that
that,
on actual film stock too.
I mean, yeah, that's probably true.
I liked how they actually like how accurate they actually kept the audio to what was happening in the movie. Because at the scene in the house, you can hear Heather talking, but she's so far away because it's using the audio from the like DV like tape cam that Mike has in the basement because the 16 millimeter doesn't have audio recording. So,
Oh, yeah.
So it's like it sounds like it's super far off, and it's because it actually is in reality.
I noticed that a lot of times with a lot of the things that they would be like, oh, do you hear that? I'm just like, no, I don't hear that. But then again, you're using a camera with a tiny ass microphone and you're probably hearing something out in the woods. I'm like, no. That I was constantly like, am I supposed to be hearing something? And then I'm like, wait, no, this makes sense. The
Well,
whole
you are
found
supposed to
film
be hearing
thing.
things. It would probably help because I
Yeah.
had my AirPods in when I was watching it, and definitely a lot of like hair on the back of your neck moments, like when they're doing that, like, oh, do you hear that? And you're like in your headphones and like the very back corner of your like peripherals, you can hear like children giggling and shit. And you're like,
Yeah, that one's creepy.
oh, okay.
Even just the first night when it's just sticks and stuff breaking. Like, if you've never camped out in the middle of the woods, like, that shit's kind of creepy.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, when I watch this movie, I'm like there with the characters in the woods being creeped the hell out. If you're watching it kind of set back, I totally get it. Like, you don't get don't get bought into being in the setting. The movie has no effect. I just think the movie does a really good job of like, hey, you're going to be the fourth person along with this group, and I hope you make it out.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, Ben and Cam have seen this more recently. I feel like a lot of what kind of mystified this movie was the fact that it was like so new age. I mean, so you had Cannibal Holocaust in like the 70s, I think, and in 92 you had Man Bites Dog, which were both like found footage, like doc horror type films. But like this was such a new idea, especially with the way they marketed it and really like went into the movie, because like the first thing you see is like these were three kids that went on this field trip, and this is what the footage was found, and we edited it into this thing, you know. And I don't even know, was there credits at the end originally?
Not when it played in the theater, no. They added credits into the VHS tape.
Yeah, because like I just remember watching this as a kid. I mean, we grew up, we were 5 when this movie came out, but like my brother had a copy of the DVD and stuff, and I remember watching this movie super young and just being like, oh shit. And then every time someone would come stay the night at my house, and be like, "Hey, you wanna watch a scary movie or something?" And be like, "Oh, Blair Witch Project."
This is the one.
We go on school trips or something. You
Yeah.
got to stay overnight. Blair Witch Project. Like,
Yeah, I do feel like this movie does require a fair amount of, and I feel this way about the found footage genre in general. I feel like it requires a little bit of buy-in at least to the whole ordeal, the whole spectacle of the found footage. Because like Zach said, if you're not there, and if you're not like, if you either like don't believe it's like at least plausibly real, or you're not like in there or whatever, like it's just kind of like, I don't find it that compelling.
Yeah, when you believe this movie's real, it hits completely different. It's
Right.
a completely different movie.
Yeah.
I think a big thing, found footage and horror and just a lot of movies. It's going in and suspending disbelief. Okay, there's a dude in a mask and he's like fucking murdering firefighters at a flaming like house. Like, we're talking about Halloween Kills here, but it's like no one's gonna fucking stop this monster. Like,
Well, at the same time, I mean, you could say the same thing about other genres like Harry Potter.
I mean, yeah, like anything. Like, you just
Why didn't Harry Potter stop 9/11? I mean, honestly, why didn't he?
you
I
can't
mean,
ask
well,
that.
it's a little
you can't
different.
ask that. That's banned in the Harry Potter subreddit.
Just lost our.
Legally allowed to. Is that really banned in there?
Not anymore.
Because it's not. It's now a historical event.
Yep, it's more than 20 years
10
old, so you
years.
can ask about it. And
20 years.
freaking
Okay.
spammed the subreddit, and now it's banned, I think. But it wasn't that he'd stopped it. It was just that, did it happen in the wizard world, and why wasn't it stopped?
So I mean, I think my main rebuttal to that though is that enjoying Harry Potter doesn't depend on you believing that wizards are real.
Oh, it
And I-
100% does for me. For all 30 hours of that series, it 100% banks on the fact that I'm going to turn on Harry Potter and I'm going to have my own little corridor at Hogwarts and I'm going to be a legit, like, wizard for the next 2.5 hours.
But
8
this,
times.
I think horror movies, and in particular movies like this, do kind of depend on you thinking it's at least a little real, right? Because if you don't think it's real at all, there's no scare factor, and if there's no scare factor, it's not interesting. Especially if there's no like subplot or anything to like drive it to be interesting in other ways.
I think what this movie does well, though, is it sets itself up in that, like, so it leads with these are 3 kids, whatever. We have the missing posters, but it sets, like, the beginning is very documentary-esque. We get the little talking head in the graveyard to set up. We get the interviews with the locals. We learn about the Blair Witch, and it even, like, it saves, like, it mentions it and teases the Coffin Rock stuff, and then comes back later and is like, all right, now we're at Coffin Rock, and here's what happened. People got their entrails cut out, but they disappeared when the cops came back after reporting it. And so it, like, really builds you into this, like, mythos of, like, what is the Blair Witch, and sets it up. And then I don't know. I like this film personally. I can definitely get people's viewpoints of, it's boring. Nothing happens. It's definitely dependent on that, like, creepy, like, buying into it aspect, because it's, yes, they find, like, voodoo witchcraft charms, they find piles of rocks, and then people harass them at night until one of them disappears. And then there's a 2-3 second shot of some gore, and then the scary thing at the end.
How
And
great
it's like,
must it have been to be that guy, right? Like,
Oh, to get out of there?
they grab you and they're just like, hey, so, you want to just join us in helping to fuck with these guys?
Right.
Do I get
So
to...
the backstory.
So we're going to give you a ton of food and you just have to scream and then you can go stay in a hotel afterward. Okay.
So Josh was not originally scripted to be the one that disappeared. The producers told him, like, hey, tonight you are going to wait like an hour after people go to sleep and then walk this way and we're going to take you away. It was supposed to be Mike that disappeared that night. So another layer of fucking with the actors. But the reason they did that was because Heather and Josh fought so much during filming that they were like, all right, we got to get Josh out of there, because like the scene where Heather gets in Josh's face and you hear Josh go like, hey, if you bite me again, she actually bit him. Like, they were legit going at it. So they had to get Josh out of there.
I don't know if all the characters are annoying, but man, it sure feels like it at times. Like, man, I just, I mean, maybe that's the point, but it also made it not pleasant to like sit there and listen to Heather like yell at everybody for like an hour. It's like,
Oh
dog.
my god, homie. No, we're going the right way. It sounds like you don't know what the fuck you're. Look, I think the best was Mike's response of being like, "What the hell?" And she's like, "This is what you signed up for." No, I've signed up for a well-scouted project.
Yeah.
I know where we are. Really? Where the fuck are we on this map? Where are we? We just need to keep. Okay, hold on. It was. We need to walk for an hour, then 2 hours, then 4 hours. Now it's another 2 hours. Now it's another 90 minutes. Where the fuck are we?
Yeah, Mike is supposed to be the voice of reason. He's supposed to be like us in the movie, being like, why would you not just follow the map from the beginning? Why would you just chance it for the first hike of the day?
And then, he just fucking kicks the map into the...
I kicked that shit in the river.
I kicked that shit in the creek.
One of my favorite lines in like any movie is in this movie, and it's super meta, I feel like, but it's when Josh takes the camera and he's pointing it at Heather, like after he freaked out, and he's like, I see why you like this video camera so much. It's not quite reality. It's like filtered. You can pretend everything's not quite the way it is. And I feel like that's kind of like meta in the sense of it's like also like the movie, like the movie's not real, but we're pandering it like as reality and we're playing it off. But also just like, yeah, like I don't know. It tries to be a little deeper than I think it puts off as just like a found footage horror movie. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some people that go in real deep. Some people do. They go in real deep, and you can find entire essays online about how the symbolism in this movie is so deep. Which always leads me back to think, like, they put $25K into this movie. They probably weren't thinking about all of that when they made it. If it came out that way, dope. But if you needed more than a bowl to write that essay, maybe lay off a little bit,
It's like the art teacher when you, like, just draw the simplest thing, and she's like, oh, I really love the symbolism that you put into this. The way that you used blue
The way
for...
that your stick figure stands is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really awesome color.
It's a really awesome stick figure. It's really just awesome. Your stick figure really signifies the simplicity of man,
I feel like I went like total film school this episode and just was like the symbolism and the meta on this movie.
I mean, that's good because my God, didn't need it.
You didn't get anywhere near as deep as you can find.
Oh, I'm sure
people online get full on. Well, actually,
Heather is
too much.
The Blair Witch.
What do you guys think about? Used to be a popular theory that this entire project was set up so that Josh could kill Heather. There's this whole internet backstory that Josh and Heather actually used to date, and they were romantic with each other, and then Heather broke up with Josh, and years go by, and Josh is still scorned about it. So Josh gets his friend Mike to join this video project where they...
But wasn't it Heather...
lead
But
Heather
Heather
to
let
this
them
house,
there, right?
and then it's Heather's project, but she knew Josh, and they grabbed Mike. So, like, Josh might have been like, yo, Mike, do this project. We're going to kill Heather.
I think when they talked, literally the time when they're arguing about the fact that Mike kicked the map into the creek, Josh says something along the lines of, like, I didn't bring you here. Like, I brought you here for this reason. So it makes it seem more so that Josh is the reason that Mike is there, less than, like, they just grabbed Mike. So I mean, maybe the theory holds up.
It would be more interesting that way.
It's a fun story.
Be a more interesting movie that way. So I'll choose to believe it, I guess.
There is a sequel to this movie. There's two actually.
Oh, nice.
Blair Witch 2,
No.
which is not found footage.
Yeah.
and
Big genre switch.
It's like it's like a psychological horror film. I forget what the story is. Isn't it like they
People go to they go to the
Burkittsville?
town to
Oh, that's
to
that's
research
what I'm
the
thinking of.
Blair
I
Witch
was
issue.
thinking of one where they like stay at some like ruins and blah. That's the second one, right? And then
Yeah.
because I was thinking that was the 2016 one in my mind.
Oh, that's so weird. A group of
The
tourists
2016
arrives in
one's like a
Burkittsville,
remake.
Maryland after seeing the Blair Witch Project to
Yeah.
explore the mythology and phenomenon, only to come face to face with their own neuroses and possibly the witch herself. So in this movie, they watched the first movie
Yes.
Yes.
and they're like, let's go.
Which, I mean, happened a
Also,
lot. Like,
the
this-
movie has a 4 out of 10 on IMDb.
It is not.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's not great.
It's a
I did
true
rewatch it
B
not
or
too
C
long
grade
ago.
movie.
It wasn't as bad as I like was led to believe, but it is like if you're gonna be like, oh hey, it's Blair Witch 2, you think it would be a lot like the first one. It's not. The 2016 is actually like a sequel, like a true sequel to the movie. Like one of the characters, I think his sister is Heather.
Okay.
There's a couple spin-off books, too, from some woman who claimed she was Heather's cousin, but turns out she wasn't.
The fuck?
Oh, nice.
She wrote a whole series of books that were supposed to be true stories about the Blair Witch, and then it came out a few years after publishing that she had no relation to Heather at all.
It's just coming in
Oh,
for the cash
God.
grab.
Yep.
Gotta get that money somehow, you know?
Yup. Gotta hustle.
We're gonna hit up some ads. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do a little trivia. You know we love saving the turts. You know Cam hates fucking paper straws.
Paper straw song.
Sock.
I will say that paper straw technology has improved since I last shat on paper straws. I have used a couple since I've been able to go out more recently due to being vaccinated, and
That's what they were doing the whole time while we were inside. They were just inventing better paper straws.
I have seen also not paper straws, but it seems like they're compostable plastic straws or something. Like
You're talking about the
basically, like,
ones
they
that
feel
are made out of
different.
like agave or whatever.
I have no idea what the composition of these straws are. I'm just, but they are different.
I'm not
than
a
the
straw
normal ones you
expert.
see. But you're the expert, Dylan.
But I do know a good glass straw when I see one, you know?
Yes. I will say for being at home and where you know, maybe you like straws in your fruity margaritas or you like straws to mix with your, you know, old fashions or whatever. You know, having these straws around the home is really nice. No, not constantly like throwing things away, or you don't have to keep buying straws all the time. Like you just buy a couple and then you're good.
And if you want cocktail picks or muddlers, they have that too. There's many colors. He's getting into like designs. So like the pride flag, he puts it on like the side of the straw. He's got hearts. He's got critters. It's like you get a piece of art along with a straw. Little multi-use.
Oh yeah, he has critter straws, which have see a dolphin, a salamander. That salamander looks intricate. That is impressive.
Grab some glass straws from Surfside Sips. Use promo code cocktails and classics spelled out for 20% off. We get a little kickback from that, and you get to save some money on some glass straws, and they should last you a long time. Dishwasher safe. They're pretty sturdy. Just don't drop them on the floor like me, like a big idiot. You have to buy more. Zach watches these movies. He comes up with some questions, and he quizzes us on our knowledge of the Blair Witch. Zach, what do you got for us?
Great to be back with the trivia section, boys.
Every episode, he quizzes us on our knowledge of the Blair Witch.
Every single episode. I tried to. You
It's
guys
weird.
are
We're
always
talking
like,
about-
No, we have to stop talking about the Blair Witch. We have to cut those questions. You also cut my Sandlerverse questions every week, which kind of pisses me off a little bit.
Well,
Anywho,
next week they
we're
will
back.
be relevant again.
To be fair, that's all the Sandlerverse questions being cut. That's all listener feedback.
Yeah, the podcast is great, but can you get rid of some of the Sandler stuff? It's kind of getting old.
I'm
the
going to save it for my
podcast is-
spin-off.
The podcast is great, but I can only take so much Adam Sandler.
I'm starting a spin-off podcast where we only watch one movie, and we do
Signed.
it every week.
Signed, yours truly, David Spade.
Oof. Last week, Ben got his revenge after some maybe questionable wins or losses. I don't know. He keeps whining about it. I think it was totally fair.
After some snafus.
Ben says they're snafus.
The fucking data says it's a snafu.
I think they're fine. I think they were perfectly fine the last couple episodes, especially the one where I
We
won.
just have an alternate version of what the facts are. That's
You
it.
have to be bought into the trivia. You have to understand that
You have to be in the lore of the trivia in order to get it.
Yeah, the lore of the trivia is that Ben loses via, I don't know, let's call them questionable circumstances.
Now you know what it's like to be a Lions fan.
No, I didn't just give up 30 yards for a field goal. I got literally screwed over.
Give up 30 yards for the longest field goal ever.
Question number 1. I didn't realize how long this shot was, by the way, but there's a shot that Heather is filming as she's backing away from Josh's car when they first get to camp. And they left something on top of the car. What was it? A water bottle, B, a backpack, or C, a jacket?
I'll go last because I know the answer.
Okay.
I know the answer
A water
too.
bottle.
Dylan sounded pretty sure of the water bottle answer.
Well, so Dylan sounded sure, and Ben knows the answer.
Ben claims he knows the answer.
So Ben might look like a real fool right here if you guess correctly and he does not.
Man, I feel like if somebody left a backpack, they would have said something in the movie. Be like, "Where's the whatever?"
Where's
Maybe,
our backpack?
Maybe they did say that. I don't know, but
Maybe it was the backpack with Heather's survival guide in it.
I don't know. I guess I'll say water bottle as well.
Yeah, because Dylan sounded sure.
Josh does thank his mom for his raincoat, though.
It's a water bottle. I was paying attention as they were weirdly walking away for so long, wondering what the fuck was on top of the car. And I'm like, is that a water bottle on top of the car? Yeah. And also, why are they still fucking filming this? Why have they not cut this yet?
It's a long scene.
It's like
too long.
It's like the Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones.
I mean, it's like 4 seconds, and it should be like 1.5.
Yeah, it's obnoxious how often you're just staring at that water bottle on the car.
So everybody gets a point that round. Question number 2. To maintain the film's fear factor, the 3 main characters agreed to stay in character for the entire 8 days of filming. Periodically, if an actor had to break from character, all of the actors would break from character at the same time, but only after collectively reciting their safety word. What was the safety word? A, penis. B, hoobla boobla. Or C, taco.
I'm gonna say hoobla boobla.
I'm gonna say taco.
Oh man, I'm not saying penis.
What are you doing now, smart man? You didn't know this one, did you?
Oh,
The
I
only
know
reason
this
I
one.
don't think it's taco is because they talk about food so much at the one point. Like they're talking about like meatballs and like mom's mashed potatoes, and I feel like it would be so easy for someone to just be like, "And I really want a taco," and then they're like, "Wait, are we breaking here?"
3 white kids in the woods would be like, yeah, I can't wait to get home and have my mom's taco.
Excuse me?
Hang on. Hang on.
Excuse
Hang
you?
Hold up. That's not what he meant.
I also feel like it's
Hi,
gotta be
Instagram.
like- I feel like hoobla boobla for the most part makes something sense as something that like that's not something that's gonna come up in casual conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, the witch is coming, hoobla boobla.
Oh, you
She's
know
here.
this Blair Witch stuff. It's all a bunch of hoobla boobla.
There's the Blair Witch. Penis. 2 hoobla booblas and a taco.
Yeah, it's a taco.
Nobody went penis.
Don't call
huh?
us that.
Is that derogatory?
Says
Do you
Dylan.
feel put down by that?
Sure
Says
feels
Dylan.
like
Sounds like it.
All right, well, the hoobla booblas are incorrect. It was taco.
No, what?
Yeah. Wasn't penis, believe it or not. I made that up.
Wow, I'm shocked you made that
I
up.
can't
Wow.
believe that you would have you would have came up with the word being penis. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come up with the word itself. The word's been around forever, but I thought it was a good choice to put in this trivia question.
I'm
I
actually
think it was
surprised that it was
I think
that
it was a
taco.
choice.
Oh man. Funny backstory to the movie is the writing crew actually put together like a 30-page book of the Blair Witch lore and gave it to the actors before the movie started filming. So like they may have gone into the woods believing the Blair Witch was real, knowing that they were filming a movie in the woods, obviously. But there's a little fun fact.
That's the thing I think a lot of movies like this do, and like ones that aren't really scripted in a sense. You usually will go in with like a treatment and be like, "This is what we have in mind," and you just good luck. Because there's like a whole subgenre of like independent film nowadays called like mumblecore, and that's like a big thing of like that is like they don't have scripts and like a lot of the dialogue is improv and they just give you like a 30-page treatment and you go shoot an hour and a half movie.
That's pretty dope.
Sounds lazy.
It's creative. It's art.
Low budget.
It's like art the same way like somebody putting a blank canvas up and putting like a splotch of paint in the middle is art. You know?
Taping a banana to a wall.
Yeah.
Question number 3.
In the scene where a banana is taped to the wall.
I saw a news article of somebody a while back who I think like a museum commissioned them to do art for them, and he just took the money and didn't give them a painting and said, "That's the art. I took your money."
That's art, baby.
And they were like, "What? No, that's not. No, hold on." Like he sent a blank canvas back and he was like, "That's the art. Is I took your money." Like, I don't know about that.
The art of stealing money.
I mean, they're called con artists for a reason, right?
Hey.
His name was literally Madoff.
Yeah.
Question number 3. What year was Burkittsville founded? A, 1814, B, 1824, or C, 1834?
We'll go with the earliest date possible, 1814.
Now, he didn't firmly declare that he knew the answer. So you guys may want to choose a different one, or you may want to choose the same one. I don't know.
Well, if you choose the same one, you're DOA, so...
Yeah, I
You
should
gotta
have
choose
paid a
something
little
different.
bit more attention to Heather's little speech she gave, her little narration.
Completely improv, by the way. Heather did get a
Wow.
writing credit for that little monologue, that little narration she did.
Wow.
I think I'm gonna go with 1834. You know, it's a nice sound year. Good
That's
year
about when
for
the Salem witch trials were happening, right, Dylan?
no. I know
You
that
covered
much.
on the last pod.
That was 1692, the same year
So-
Columbus sailed.
Dylan's
All right.
the witch is like 1800s. I don't know.
So here's a funny like little side story. At trivia this week, the tiebreaker question was what year did the Salem witch trial start? And I was like 1693, and it was actually 1694. But I would have won the tiebreaker.
Wow.
Thank you.
Depends on who you ask.
Thank you, Hocus Pocus. My first thought was 1814. That's what I'm sticking with.
But that's what
Score
Cam
be
said.
damned. He wants to be right.
I don't care.
Ben, do you know the answer to this question?
No, but my gut said 1814.
That is correct. It is not 1814.
Ha.
It's also not 1834.
No.
Nice.
It is 1824. You get to see
Ben,
it
you
in a
chungus.
sign as Heather's giving her monologue. That sign, from the latest report I could find, which was in 2014, has been stolen over a dozen times.
I like how Dylan calls me a chungus when he was also wrong. I'm sorry,
No,
Dylan.
no, but
how many?
Also off
but
by
How
10
many?
years.
How many points do you have, bud?
Ooh.
same as you. But
That's true. You guys are tied. You guys could go for a tiebreaker for bragging rights.
Why? No, there's
Settle
no
this
bragging
right
rights
here.
in second place.
We have such a cocktails and classics tiebreaker, though. One that we've
Okay.
used numerous times.
All right,
Is
hit
it
me
an
with it.
inflation question?
It's
How
not
much-
inflation, although that might come back next week. How many times is the word fuck and its derivatives used in the movie? Classic cocktails and questions. Cocktails and classics
works.
question. Cocktails and questions. We
That's
just get
our
drunk and
trivia.
ask each other our deepest, darkest secrets.
It's our official trivia game. Cocktails and questions.
Any guesses on the fuck currencies?
95.
69. Nice.
154 for its derivatives included. 137 for just the word fuck itself.
They do say
So
that.
Dylan
one a
wins the
lot.
bragging rights, Cam wins the big pie.
Yeah,
Nice.
bragging rights. That's all that matters.
Hey.
Fuck you, Ben.
Why did you brag on these nuts?
Like how the one time we did a tiebreaker for second place, Ben loses. Gets third.
That's a separate category in the spreadsheet now.
Oh man. This is Ben's Joker moment.
See if I ever record this fucking shit show podcast again.
Well, congrats, Ben. And those of us who have seen this film.
Ben, for losing.
Fuck.
Wow, way to rub fucking way to
Dylan's
rub
just still
salt in the
shitting on
wound.
Ben.
Way to rub salt in the wound,
Congrats,
you cock.
Ben, for being a big loser.
Sorry, Ben. I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah,
Congrats, Cam,
Sure
for
you did.
actually winning.
Sure you did.
Congrats, Ben, for literally coming in last. Zach almost got more questions right than you did.
Those of us who have seen this film, we hold a little bit of nostalgia. We'll give you our nostalgia rating, and then we'll give you a little updated one. But two of us have not seen this film, so they're going to give you some
Two?
fresh ratings.
All right. This rating comes right out of the rating factory. Just made it.
Shit, I forgot
Just
about
made it
the
now.
Factory.
It's very fresh, right out of the
very-
horse's gullet.
Right. Yep. Don't look it in the mouth. So I think
rating
for
in the
me, I am going to give this movie. This is tough. I'm gonna give it a 2, and I hated it for a lot of reasons. The main one is I thought it was just boring. The only reason it's not a 1 is I do recognize its influence over the horror movie genre. Though I don't like horror movies, and I don't really like this particular even subgenre of horror movies. It does have a huge impact on pop culture and for future movies, but personally, I thought it was really boring and not fun to watch and a slog. So I'm gonna leave it at a 2.
Hold on, let me open my ratings box.
Oh, you have a box?
Oh, look at that. It's a 3.
Oh, you didn't even get it from the factory, though.
Much like Cameron, I kind of thought this movie was boring. I'll be honest, I feel like I'd heard a lot of talk about this movie being like, you know, this scary movie and it's this thing and you have to see it and this and that, and I watched it and didn't feel that. It was kind of meh. I didn't really care for it. It was a slog. Like I said, yes, I get this psychological thriller of it. You know, you're lost in the woods, this and that. It just felt like there was no really like, I don't know, like there didn't feel like there was a payoff for me. I don't know. It just kind of felt like it just ended flat, and there should have been something and there wasn't. I will say I'll be honest, if this is one of those things that everyone's like, you have to see this, yeah, I don't think you do. I'll say it. I don't think you do. It's kind of meh for me. I'm not a big horror movie fan, and this was just kind of a slog for me to get through.
I think you do need to see it. Going in, I gave this an 8 out of 10, and I'm going to bump it up to a 9 out of 10. I think The Blair Witch is one of the best horror films. Definitely one of the most influential, most iconic ones. I mean, it held the highest budget to box office ratio for years, and it still might. I haven't checked. I think it does well with the purpose it sets out for. It's slow burn, which I really enjoy. Sets up the history and the myth of the witch. Sure, it's people being lost in the woods, but to be honest, that's kind of scary in itself. Like, it's not like, ooh, spooky scary, but it's like, we could
I might
fucking die
die.
scary. It's scarier than a witch to me, to be honest. I like how they withhold that information of Coffin Rock to like fit in the documentary itself. For me, it has a lot of like hair on the back of your neck, creepy moments. Josh screaming in the distance, the kids at night. When they first see those like stickman figures, like those things are fucking creepy as hell. Like, could you imagine finding those in your woods?
And when
Like,
they see him again after they wake up and they're just around their camp,
yeah,
God.
dude. I grew up next to a big thing of woods, so like I would go out there and play. And if I walked out there one day and there was just a bunch of like stick figure voodoo things, I would freak out. The marketing, the missing posters, and all that, I think makes it what it is. It's the found footage film. You could live and die by that, and I think it is one of the best horror films. I like the creepy vibe. I don't want jump scares, and there's not much of that. Besides that one like tent shaking scene might be like jump scary, but other than that, I think it just leaves you with like an eerie, creepy vibe.
I've seen this movie so many times. This is one of my favorite horror movies as well. I'm just gonna end up echoing a lot of the things that Dylan said. It's fantastic. It is a movie that shows you how to do more with less. Part of that is you give the movie the benefit of the doubt because it's a documentary of like these like college age people who are shooting in the woods and they're dehydrated and they're hungry. So shaky cam work gets a pass there. But it's just so creepy. I mean, being in the woods. Did anybody notice they just bought a bunch of boxes of rice? How are they gonna cook that? Like, that's the type of mistakes people make, and they buy these power bars and like, it's just so creepy from end to end. I can watch this movie over and over again. I will say, I think that this movie is gonna be plagued by like a technology curse. I don't think this movie is
Oh,
gonna be anywhere near the same in 10 years.
the one I watched like a stream. It looks rough, man. With like especially the
Yeah.
like DV cam, like you could like
Yeah.
see the like linear lines in
Yeah.
the footage.
No,
It
it
was
is at
It
its
looked
absolute
bad.
best. It's VHS quality at its
Yeah.
we
absolute
need a
best.
remaster. Somebody needs to get onto that remaster game.
Well, that like the so not being able to see like even when they're panning through the woods through the and you see like the stick figures, that itself is creepy. That kind of dark being in the woods at that time of night is really scary to me. The thing that I think will get lost is something you brought up earlier, like Heather is upstairs in the house, but the microphone is downstairs in the house. This entire idea of there was a camera that didn't have a microphone on it, I think is going to be something that really has to be explained in 5 to 10 years. And I think for reasons like that, people you're gonna need this movie explained to you before you watch it. It's gonna kind of be like The Room, where like if somebody just put on The Room and you knew nothing about it, you would turn it off in 10 minutes.
Or you'd just be fascinated. You'd be like, "There's a fucking like Transylvanian guy."
Yeah, or you'd
Like,
be just baked out of your mind, and you're like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever saw or I've seen." But I love this movie. It's a personal favorite of mine, and I give it a 9 out of 10 as well.
I don't know. I guess maybe for me, I feel more suspense when it's like not like at the jump scare, but like I guess more so like if you
leading
think
up.
like the slasher genre, like you know something's gonna happen and you just have that tension of waiting for it to happen. This movie would give me
Hmm.
that, and then there was never any payoff. It was like, here's the tension, here's the tension, here's the tension. Okay, it's morning. It's like, well, I want that tension to like go somewhere. I want it to do something, and I feel like this just kind of it kept just kind of teasing it and then never happened.
They shot different endings for this movie. There's an ending where Mike is in the corner and he's on like one of the stick crucifixes. There's an ending
That'd
where
be fucking creepy as hell.
they just didn't play well. I mean, there's an entire scene. So when Heather and the group get woken up in the middle of the night, the tent shaking, and Heather's sprinting as fast as she can, and she yells, "What the fuck is that?" She was supposed to pan to the left, where the director of the movie was dressed in a completely like white gown, white stockings over his head, and that was supposed to be the Blair Witch. She forgot. They took the first
Yeah.
take because that
I
was
just
them
think
waking up in the middle of the night. I kind
I
of
don't
like the
know.
movie
It would have
without
been
that,
nice to
though.
get some sort of just slight pay. Like that's the thing is, I feel like you hear Josh screaming and you hear Josh yelling, and then they're just all I see is fucking blades of grass passing by, and I don't see anything going on, and it just frustrated me.
Yeah, the creep factor in that scene is like, is it Josh
Oh
or is it the
no,
Blair Witch?
I get that, and I pick up on it, but like I don't
Just
know, it
doesn't
just
do it for
doesn't do
you?
it enough.
Ben wants to see the monster. I personally like not seeing it because sometimes your
Or seeing it at the
imagination
right
does
time.
more.
Well,
Yeah,
but that's the thing is like
because
you
I
could
feel
have
like
done
that's
it.
where a lot of
You could have
slashers.
done it like at the ending, and it could have been like the payoff of like you finally they did all of this stuff trying to figure out what's going on with the Blair Witch, and in the end, it cost them, but they finally got their footage of the Blair Witch. But it was just like, oh, here's the end. Here's Mike standing in the corner. It's like,
You should watch the remake. Watch the 2016 version. You might like that one more.
It's not a remake; it's a sequel.
Okay.
I mean,
They use better
maybe
cameras.
not. I don't know. Yeah. It's directed by Adam Wingard, who did
I think part
the
of
newest
it's
Kong.
shot on iPhones too.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Tune in on Halloween for Hubie Halloween.
no.
Take 2 of
Let it be
Electric
known.
Boogaloo.
Let it be known, you both rated Hubie Halloween almost twice as better.
You know what?
as
I
you did this
enjoyed.
movie.
I don't want to watch Hubie Halloween, but I enjoyed
I
it
gave
more than
Hubie
this.
Halloween a 6.
Oh no.
No.
Cam gave it like a 3.5 or a 4 or something.
Yeah.
I was say I cannot
That's what
believe
I was
I gave
thinking of.
Hubie Halloween.
I think
a
I gave it
fucking
like a
6.
2.
I
can't
mean,
believe
it's
I
not a
rated
good
it
movie,
2.
but I would 10 out of 10 times prefer to watch that over this movie.
I would
every
rather
single
just
time.
turn the TV off and
I mean,
watch.
right? I don't want to watch either. I'm just saying. Like,
Although
if
I
you're
will
like,
say, if it's between the two, I would probably watch this at least because the infighting between everyone was kind of funny at times. So I enjoyed it.
it is also maybe shorter. I don't know the runtime.
Like I will say that, like
This one's only
This
81
one
I will
minutes.
say
shorter.
that was one thing that's like completely, especially for strangers, is like I'd 100% imagine like if the four of us were lost in the woods after like the second or third day, we would be infighting and pissed off at each other so fucking quick. So I can't.
Dylan would have
So I-
left. Dylan would have just grabbed his backpack and
You
just
know what?
gone that
You know
way.
what?
We'd
You
never
guys
seen
keep
him
going
again.
south. I'm gonna go east, and I hope the fucking witch kills you. Okay. Well,
Could we go east or west?
I would have followed
Which
the
one was
water.
bad
I don't know
witch?
why they didn't follow the water. Because,
Yeah.
like, typically it's going to hit a town. Because, like, towns are always built on rivers. I don't
I don't know.
or creeks. you
another-
know?
Well, wasn't that
another
the whole
fun
thing
fact?
though? Was that they kept heading south, and it basically just turned into them.
It turned them in the
well,
wrong
yeah,
direction. Yeah.
At that point, it ended up
Yeah,
looping.
it
but
was
Which
obviously the witch, right?
yes.
Or the forest just changes, or I don't know.
to hit those Caskers and Drizzly links, buy some Surfside tips. Get the bone straws before Halloween's up. As always, watch responsibly.